You have to read Kingdom. Don't watch it. I mean, unless you're trying to be blind. But let me just show you. You see what I mean? So the thing about this series is that it's not only very unknown, but it's also very popular. This is because it doesn't have an official translation, and as I already showed you, the anime is yeah. It's easier to find a black dad that hasn't abandoned his child than it is to find a fan of Kingdom. So I gave it a shot, and holy shit, this is great. This whole series is the final arc of an anime with the war arcs. The series is based around the warring states of China, so you could unironically spoil yourself if you research it. Our main state is the state of Qin, so a majority of the arcs are about a war against a different state. Aside from a few political arcs of the king getting cancelled, they can get very intense and make you clench your ass like, fuck, how do we get out of this situation? But this story follows the main character Shin, or Shin. When you first read the story, all of the names are in Chinese, and honestly, the only thing harder than remembering Chinese names is when you're reading subtitles for a K-drama and the name you read sounds nothing like what they just said. So Shin wants to be a great general of the heavens, which is a general that's better than a general that's better than a general. It's your typical shonen goal, but in a seinen. But alongside this goal, you have the King of Qin, whose goal is to unify all of the states under one. And we ain't taking a pussy route either. If you gotta die, then you all gotta die. So this man is basically trying to be the King of Kings. Every state has to be conquered in order for this dream to happen, so you can see why this is all about war. Now, one thing I really love about this series that I hate about shonens, the main character don't be having some random ass power buff in the middle of the fight like he's trying to get a world record time. This man will be your toughest opponent yet. They say he's never lost a fight in 85 years of martial arts, and you're gonna need to train for at least 5 years. Oh, I already beat him. What? What? You're literally a kid. Oh yeah, but apparently I had this hidden potential in me since apparently I'm this guy's son. So I knew all of his techniques. But I'm your dad. Years actually pass for the main character to have time to grow, but you get to see almost every year of his life, and as of right now, 11 years have passed in the story. You ain't ever seeing that happen in a shonen. Now don't get me wrong, there are still some times where I'm like, you know, I really don't know if you should have beat this guy, but I'll allow it. It feels way more believable done like this. Now I ain't gonna lie, this took me multiple attempts to get into. By multiple I mean I had this on hold for like a year. Mainly because I couldn't remember the Chinese names, but once you get into it, it gets wild. Also, look at this art. You're really gonna look at this and be like, nah, I ain't reading this. Seinen manga just has really good art, and I love that, because it can really emphasize how brutal these wars are, which is why you won't ever see me touching the anime of any seinen manga. That shit is always censored. These guys really swing their swords. You'll get a little sword flash like this man threw a flashbang in BC times. Then they end up with a little slice on their face like it grazed them. Like this sword wasn't swung with full force. Not only that, but even with the modern style of Kingdom, it just doesn't feel very appealing. But that might just be me, I don't know. Now without spoiling, this series has some really good characters. Look at this man in all of his beauty. No other character in any other series has even come close to this man's godly amount of physique. No amount of lip implants can get you these luscious lips. Oh god, what the fuck? I'ma be real. If I saw this man in real life, I'd shit myself. But in a manga, you can't help but love this guy. We also have Big Boob Woman. Then we have my personal runner-up favourite, Kanki. Everyone is all like, oh, let's not kill the civilians, they're not part of the war. Oh, the soldiers have surrendered, we can't kill them. Kanki says, nah, screw that. You part of the enemy state, you gone. This man is unpredictable, and I love that he just does what he wants. As long as he wins, that's all that matters. Also, his eyebrow game is just built different. I know he'd be looking in the mirror making sure they look just as good as yesterday. Kyokai. When you see the words Ton Tan Tan, you be getting that super strength cheat. Point is, very cool character. The last person that stays in my head rent free, Moten, my wife. Now I ain't gay, But Mode 10 is a pretty cool character. He's just a nice guy, you can't hate him. Now I ain't gonna sit here and act like this series is perfect, it definitely ain't. I already talked about a couple BS wins for Shin, but Shin's army could go through a whole war and fight against the strongest group of enemies ever, and aside from a few random fodder in the army, we just be coming out like we just finished a YouTube boxing match because hardly anyone dies. During the whole 700 chapters of this series, I can genuinely count on one hand the number of named characters that have died from Shin's group. Meanwhile, the enemy state just be crippled, like they're trying to escape slavery. I think if there were more deaths on our side as well, then it would be more stressful to see them go into action. Like with Attack on Titan, that should be Russian roulette with who's gonna die in this arc. Now I can't show you this one, because it's a spoiler, but this one guy always comes back. This guy just comes to level the playing field and it can be very annoying, because that's literally all he does. Hold up, we're losing? Time to activate our trap card. But aside from that, if you like action and think size doesn't matter, then give Kingdom a try. If you don't like it, read One Piece. Bye.
I've been at it on my own time, no, flexing on my